After that touch, everything started to change. Not loudly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. Yael was no longer just there. He began stepping into my life. One evening studying together in the library. One midnight run for snacks. One morning I woke up and found him sitting outside my dorm hallway, waiting for me like it was the most natural thing in the world. And I stopped asking why. Bellamy, you're reading without turning the page. I startled and looked up. Yael was sitting across from me, chin propped on his hand, watching me. You're staring at me? I asked. Yeah. How long? Long enough to notice you're not focusing. I sighed and closed the book. You're distracting me. Is that a complaint? No, I shook my head. Just an observation. Yael smiled. Then I'll keep doing it. Keep distracting me? I laughed. And this time, I did not try to hide it. We left the library when the sky was already dark. Streetlights glowed, spilling gold along the path. Are you cold? Yael asked. I'm fine. You always say that. Because I always am. Yael stopped. I stopped too. Not always, he said. I looked at him. But with you. I want to be. A beat of silence. Then Yael stepped closer. Closer than usual. You don't have to be okay all the time in front of me, he said. My chest tightened. But if I'm not okay, I whispered. How will you see me? Yael did not hesitate. As you are. I looked at him. For a long time. A very long time. You make it sound so easy. Because I think simply. I'm not simple. I know. A small smile. But I'm still here. We kept walking. Our shoulders brushed. Lightly. Neither of us pulled away. Bellamy. Yeah. This weekend. I turned to him. Come with me. Where? Yael thought for a second. Doesn't tea matter? I laughed. Terrible answer. Then. Somewhere no one knows us. My heart skipped. Why? Because I want you. Just for me for a little while. The air stilled. I stared straight ahead. That sounds dangerous. It might be. And if I say no, then I'll ask again next time. I smiled faintly. You never give up, do you? Not with you. I stopped. Yael stopped too. Okay, I said. He looked surprised. Okay. I nodded. But if you make me uncomfortable, I'll stop. Immediately. Immediately. A smile tugged at my lips. Then. Okay. That night I couldn't sleep. Not from worry, but from anticipation. A feeling I'd forgotten a long time ago. Saturday morning, Yael knocked on my door at 9. I thought you'd sleep till noon, he said. I thought you'd be late, I replied. Not with you. We left the dorm without telling anyone where we were going. Just left. Do you believe in wishes? Yael asked as we sat on the bus. I looked out the window. No, not even after your birthday. I stayed quiet for a moment. Maybe a little. Yael smiled softly. I'll take that as progress. The bus stopped at a small coastal town. Salty wind. Sound of waves. I took a deep breath. You brought me here? Yeah. Why? Yael looked out at the sea. Because here, everything feels more real. We walked along the sandy shore. Neither of us spoke for a while. Just the waves and our footsteps. Bellamy. Yeah. Yael stopped. I turned to him. Do you regret it? He asked. Regret what? Letting me stay. I looked at him. The wind gently lifted his hair. His eyes were the same as the first day. But closer now. No, I said. A simple answer. But it was the truth. Yael smiled. Then I'm not going anywhere. I stepped closer. Only a few centimeters between us. Yael. Yeah. I looked at his lips. Then back to his eyes. Are you sure? Yael did not answer with words. He just did not step back. And this time, I did not either. The distance between us shrank until I could feel his breath. My heart raced, not in panic, but in nervous excitement. A feeling both strange and familiar, like my body had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Bellamy. Yael's voice was soft, almost blending with the waves. I did not reply. I just looked at him. There were 100 reasons to pull away, 100 reasons to break the moment. But for the first time, I did not choose logic. I took one more step. And then, I kissed him. Not rushed, not fierce, just a gentle touch, but enough to stop everything. The wind, the waves, time. I felt the warmth of his lips. Soft, sure, and Yael did not push me away. He kissed me back, gently, carefully, like he was afraid I might break. My heart clenched. I don't know how long the kiss lasted. I only know that when we pulled apart, I was no longer the same person I was before. You still okay? Yael asked, voice low. I smiled softly. Yeah. You sure? Sure. But this time, there was nothing more to say. We kept walking along the shore. We did not hold hands. We did not talk much, but the distance between us was no longer the same. Bellamy, Yael said as we sat on a rock near the water. Yeah. Do you know what this means? I stared into the distance. I think I do. Then say it. I turned to him. It means I can't pretend you're just another person in my life anymore. Yael smiled faintly. And that scares me. Yael did not dodge it. And for me, he said, it makes me happy. I laughed. You're so weird. And you're complicated. We looked at each other, then laughed together. Yael, yeah, I don't know where this is going. Neither do I. But I took a breath. I want to try. A moment of silence. Then Yael nodded. Then we'll try. He held out his hand. This time not for a light touch, but to hold. I looked at his hand. Then I placed mine in it. Our fingers laced together. Tight, warm, and neither of us let go. Slow, I said. Yael smiled. Slow. That afternoon we sat watching the sunset. The sky burned orange and red. Everything was so peaceful I almost forgot I'd ever been afraid. I have a question, Yael said. Yeah. Your birthday wish. My heart fluttered. Yeah. Does it have anything to do with me? I looked at him. Then smiled. Maybe. Yael tilted his head. Maybe. I wished to not be alone anymore. Quiet moment. But not heavy. Then I hope I'm helping, Yael said. I squeezed his hand gently. You are. And for the first time, I said it without fear. That night when we returned to the dorm, everything looked the same. The hallway, the lights, the voices. But I knew I had changed. Bellamy. I turned around. Yael was standing in front of my door. Yeah. He looked at me, silent for a few seconds. Then, happy belated birthday. I laughed. Thank you. Quiet pause. Your wish. Yael said. Yeah. I'll try to make it come true. My heart softened. Don't try too hard, I said. Not trying, he replied. Wanting. I looked at him, then stepped closer. This time, I was the one who initiated. Another kiss. No longer hesitant. No longer testing. Just sure. And when I pulled away, I knew I had crossed the line. There was no going back. But this time, I did not want to go back. In the days that followed, I no longer called Yael someone in my life. He became part of it. No labels, no definitions. But it was clear. Bellamy, you're losing focus again. I startled and looked up from my laptop. Tyler sat across from me, arms crossed, eyes suspicious. No, I'm not, I answered too quickly. Yes, you are, he insisted. And I know why. I sighed. Don't start. It's him, right? I did not answer. Tyler leaned forward. Bellamy. I know, I said quietly. Know what? That I'm changing. Tyler stayed silent. I'm not sure I like it, I added. Or you're just not used to it. I looked at him. Maybe both. Tyler leaned back in his chair. Look, I don't know what kind of person he is, but I know you. I raised an eyebrow. You don't open up easily, he said. And if you have, then there must be a reason. I stayed quiet. Don't ruin it yourself, Tyler added. I smiled faintly. I've heard that before. Because you need to hear it multiple times. I closed my laptop. He.S. not perfect, I said. No one is. He.S. too sure of everything. And you're scared of that. I did not deny it. Yeah, I said. Then learn to trust, Tyler replied. Trust. A simple word. But for me, it was an entire process. That night, I sat on my bed, phone in hand. Text from Yael. What are you doing? I stared at the screen for a while, then replied, thinking random thoughts. Not long after. Want me to help? I smiled softly. You can't help with everything. I can try. A pause. Then I typed, come over. Less than 5 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. I got up and opened it. Yael stood there. No questions. No hesitation. Just, here. You called me, he said. Yeah. I came. I stepped aside. He walked in. My room was small, but when Yael was here, it did not feel empty anymore. What were you thinking about? Yael asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. I leaned against the desk. A lot of things. Like, I looked at him. About us. Yael did not dodge. Yeah. Don't you think it's happening too fast? You're asking that question again. I'm serious. And so am I, Yael answered. I stepped closer. Aren't you scared? No. Why? Yael looked at me. Because I know what I'm doing. I smiled faintly. But I don't. Yael stood up. The distance between us closed again. Then I'll wait. My heart fluttered. How long? As long as it takes. I shook my head. No one waits forever. Yael did not argue. He just asked, do you want me to wait? That question made me freeze. Did I? I looked at him. His eyes were still the same as the first day. No pressure. No retreat. Just there. Yes, I said softly. Yael nodded. Then I will. No more words needed. I stepped closer. But don't let me disappoint you, I said. Yael smiled. I'm not that easy to disappoint. I looked at him. Then, I lifted my hand, touched his cheek. A small gesture. But for me, a very big step. Yael leaned gently into my palm. Bellamy, he said. Yeah. I like you. My heart tightened. Not from surprise, but because I already knew. Still, hearing it was different. I took a breath. I do too, I said. A smile appeared. Not big, but real. Slow, I whispered. Slow, Yael replied. And this time, we did not need to rush because both of us knew we were going in the right direction. There's one thing no one tells you about starting a relationship. It's not the moment you hold hands. It's not the moment you kiss. It's the moment you realize you could lose them. Came to me on a completely ordinary afternoon. I was sitting in the library trying to finish my essay. Yael sat across from me, like always. The air was quiet. Sound of pages turning, sound of typing. Then Yael's phone vibrated. He glanced at it, and instantly, his expression changed. Just slightly. Anyone else might not have noticed. But I did. What's wrong? I asked. Yael turned off the screen. Nothing. I frowned. You're a terrible liar. A moment of silence. Then he exhaled. Just family stuff. You okay? Yael nodded. But this time, I did not believe him. Yael, yeah, I'm here. He looked at me, then smiled faintly. I know, but something was wrong. That night, Yael did not text like usual. No good night. No have you eaten? Just silence. I lay on my bed, phone in hand. The screen lit up, then went dark. No messages. A familiar feeling started creeping back. Loneliness. I hated it. Maybe he's just busy. I told myself, don't overthink. But the more I tried to convince myself, the more I realized I was scared. Not normal worry, but fear. The next morning, I ran into Yael in the hallway. He looked the same, but not completely. Hey, I said. Hey, short. Too short. You okay? I asked. Yeah. One word. I clenched my fist. You did not text last night. Sorry, I was busy. Perfect answer. But not what I wanted to hear. Family stuff? I asked. Yael paused. Yeah. Serious? A moment of silence. Maybe. My heart sank. Can I do anything? I asked. Yael looked at me. His eyes this time were different. Not completely open anymore. No, he said. One word. But this time, it created distance. Yael. Bellamy, he cut me off. His voice was gentle, but firm. I need a little time. I stood still. Time? I repeated. Yael nodded. Just a little. I swallowed. And where do I fit into that time? He did not answer right away, then said, still here, but not the way it used to be. I understood, even though he did not say it out loud. Okay, I said, one word, but this time, I was the one trying not to break. Yael nodded, then walked away. I stood there. I did not call after him. I did not run after him. I just stood still and felt the distance forming in the days that followed. We still saw each other, but it wasn't the same. No more natural touches. No more random texts. No more feeling of staying. Yael was still there, but it felt like part of him had withdrawn, and I did not know what to do. I used to think the hardest thing was opening up, but now I realized the hardest thing is keeping it open when everything starts to crack. Bellamy, you okay? I turned around. Tyler was standing there. Yeah. You're lying again. I sighed. It's complicated. Tyler nodded. It's about him? I nodded slightly. Fight? No. Then it's worse. I laughed dryly. Yes. Pulling away, Tyler frowned. And you? I don't know whether to move forward or back. A moment of silence. Move forward, Tyler said. I looked at him. And if he doesn't want that? Tyler shrugged. At least you'll know. No. Once again. The thing I feared most, but also the thing I needed. That night, I stood in front of Yael's door. Hand raised. Paused. Then knocked. The sound echoed in the quiet hallway. Once. Twice. No answer. I stood there, hands still on the door. My heart beat faster than usual. Maybe he's not in his room. I was about to turn away. Bellamy? The voice behind me made me freeze. I turned around. Yael was standing at the end of the hallway, holding a bottle of water. Looked like he had just come back from somewhere. You were looking for me? He asked. I nodded. Yeah. A short silence. What's up? Yael stepped closer. I looked at him. The distance between us wasn't far, but it wasn't as close as before. We need to talk, I said. Yael stopped. His eyes dimmed slightly. Okay, he replied. The door opened. We stepped inside. The space was familiar, but the feeling wasn't. Sit down, Yael said. I did not sit. I'll stand. He nodded. He did not sit either. We stood facing each other. You're avoiding me, I said directly. Yael did not deny it. Yeah. The answer was too quick, too honest. Why? A moment of silence. Bellamy. Don't dodge, I cut in. Just tell me the truth. Yael took a breath. My family wants me to go back to New York. The world seemed to stop. Go back. I repeated. Yeah. For how long? It's not how long, Yael said softly. It's for good. I stood frozen. Couldn't speak for a few seconds. You're leaving? I asked. Yael looked at me. For the first time. His eyes weren't certain. I haven't decided yet. But that answer did not make me feel any better. And that's why you've been avoiding me? I asked. Yeah. You thought if you avoided me, this would be easier? No, Yael shook his head. But if I stayed too close. He paused. I wouldn't want to leave. My heart felt crushed. Then don't leave, I said immediately. Yael smiled, sad. It's not that simple. For me it is, I replied. Because you're not the one who has to choose, Yael said. I froze. Then let me understand, I said. Don't decide everything alone. Yael looked at me for a long time. My family. He began. They want me to come back and take over the family company. I frowned. You never told me, because I did not want that to define me. But it's still part of you, I said. Yael nodded. Yeah. A moment of silence. So what do you want? I asked. The question was simple, but this time, Yael did not answer right away. I want to stay here, he said finally. My heart fluttered. Then stay. And disappoint my family? I don't think living your own life is disappointing anyone. Yael looked at me. You make it sound so easy. Because I have nothing to lose, I answered. That sentence made the air freeze. You have nothing to lose? Yael repeated. I smiled bitterly. Before you came. That was true. A moment of silence. And now? Yael asked. I looked straight into his eyes. Now I have you. This time. Yael couldn't stay calm. His eyes wavered. Bellamy. I'm not saying it to pressure you, I continued. But I'm also not going to pretend it doesn't matter. Yael stepped closer. You're not pressuring me, he said. You're just making everything harder. I smiled faintly, because I'm being honest. Yeah. A moment of silence. Are you going to leave? I asked. Yael looked at me. How do you want me to answer? I want the truth. 1 second. 2 seconds. Right now. Yael said slowly, I don't want to leave you. My heart pounded. But I also can't ignore my family. 2 worlds. 2 choices. And I was caught in the middle. So what do we do? I asked. Yael took one more step. The distance between us disappeared. We don't rush to decide, he said. We make the most of the time we have. Make the most? I repeated. Yeah. It sounds like a deadline. Yael did not deny it. It might be. I clenched my fist. I don't want to be a temporary chapter in your life. This time. Couldn't he hide it? Yael looked at me. You're not. Then prove it, I said. A moment of silence. Then Yael raised his hand. Touched my face. Stay with me, he said. It wasn't an answer. But it was an invitation. And I couldn't refuse. I stepped closer. This time. No hesitation. A kiss. Deeper. Stronger. Like we were trying to hold on to something that was slipping away. And in that moment, I knew our time was no longer infinite. After that night, things did not become clearer, but they were no longer as vague as before. We stopped avoiding. We stopped pretending everything was the same. And we stopped trying to solve it immediately. We stayed in the middle, between maybe and maybe we'll lose this. The following days passed faster than usual. Maybe because I started counting them. Not by numbers, but by moments. One morning Yael overslept in my room. Sunlight filtered through the curtains onto his face. I lay beside him, just watching, doing nothing, and thinking. If time could stop right here, it would be perfect. You're staring at me again? Yael mumbled, eyes still closed. I smiled softly. Yeah. How long? Long enough to know you don't look cute when you sleep. Yael opened his eyes and looked at me. You're a terrible liar. I did not deny it. One afternoon we studied together. We did not talk much, but under the table my leg touched his, and neither of us pulled away. One evening we sat on the dorm rooftop. The city lights sparkled. A light breeze blew. Bellamy, Yael said. Yeah. If I have to leave, my heart tightened. Will you be okay? I stared straight ahead. I don't know, I answered honestly. A moment of silence. But I pretend it hurt. Yael nodded. And you? I asked. Same. We did not say anything more, because some questions don't have easy answers. But there was one thing I realized. I was no longer the person I used to be. The person who was so afraid they couldn't even start. The person who thought loneliness was the safest option. Now, I was afraid of losing, and that meant I finally had something worth losing. 1 week later, Yael got a phone call. This time, I was there. I understand, he said into the phone. His voice was calm, but his hand was clenched tight. Give me more time. A moment of silence. Yes. I'll think about it. He hung up, said nothing. I stepped closer. They want an answer? I asked. Yael nodded. In how long? 1 week. My heart sank. 1 week. Sounded long. But really, it was very short. What are you going to do? I asked. Yael looked at me. I don't know. For the first time. He said those words, and I realized he was scared too. Then don't decide alone, I said. Yael smiled faintly. You said that again. Because it's true. A moment of silence. Bellamy, Yael called. Yeah. If I stay. My heart pounded hard. I won't be staying just because of you. I froze. What do you mean? I need to be sure it's my choice, Yael said. Not because I'm scared of losing you. I looked at him and nodded. I understand. Because I did not want to be the only reason someone stayed either. I want you to stay because you want to, I said. And I want to stay because of you, Yael replied. Those two things weren't contradictory, but they also weren't simple. The last day of that week, we went back to the beach, the place where everything began. The wind was the same, the waves were the same, but we were no longer the same. Have you decided? I asked. Yael did not answer right away. He looked out at the sea, then turned to me. Yes. My heart skipped a beat. And? I asked. Yael stepped closer, very close. Do you remember your birthday wish? He asked. I nodded lightly. Not to be alone anymore. Yael smiled. Then, I'll help you keep it. 1 second. 2 seconds. You mean? I'm staying. Everything broke open. Not loudly, but powerfully. Are you sure? I asked. Yael nodded. Sure. Why? He looked at me. Because for the first time in my life, I know where I want to be. My heart melted. And where is that? Yael moved even closer. Here. Here. Wasn't he just a place? It was. Beside me. I did not say anything. I just pulled him in. A kiss. No longer rushed. No longer afraid. Just certain. And when we pulled apart, I smiled. Looks like my wish came true. Yael smiled softly. Not a wish, he said.